Scoreboard Show is sponsored by Southern Trophy House, Sir Speedy of Music City, Strike and Spare Family Fun Center, and the Omni Nashville Hotel. And now to the Strike and Spare studios for your hosts, high school sports legend Bruno Reagan and high school graduate Ray Dosky. If we can find a way to add Devlin McKenzie as producer into the open, that would be great.
All right, we heard the openers last week, and I was like, "Wow, those were good." I thought those were that one was
better than good.
Yeah, I'm Bruno Reagan. We got Ray Dosky hosting as well. Devlin McKenzie behind the board. Real quick before we start, always want to shout out the sponsors tonight. All high school prep football coverage on Nashville Sports Radio is presented by T. Wright Properties and Century 21st Wright Realty. Thank you all so much. The reason we can continue to do these things and give you the best high school football coverage in the mid-state. We're in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studios. I know it's a late one. Hold on to it. If you have any games you want to report on, maybe you were at a game, something crazy happened, you want to talk some stats, you can call another Cure hotline, 615-844-5600. Ray.
Or you're stuck in a delay and you're like, you know what? Let's just call in while we're waiting for this game to get back up.
Hey, let's pull the curtain back for a second. Today was an interesting one in the world of mid-state Tennessee mid-state high school football. There were a lot of delays. You know, it's kind of pocketed too. So, the behind the scenes, a lot of people don't get to see it. I mean, Devlin, Ray helping him out, Adam Johnson, Joe Fisher. Everyone has to be so fluid and ready for anything. Working with a team of professionals. And I'm just here, so that's pretty cool. But working with a team of professionals makes it so much easier. So I appreciate all of the staff here at WNSR to give one of the highest quality high school programs in the mid-state. It's insane the work that goes into here. So absolutely. I appreciate all of you. Now, Ray, how are you doing tonight, man? It's 11:14. We're going to carry this show all the way to midnight. We'll recap the game. We'll talk about all the scores in the mid-state and what's going on. Ray, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Let's talk about the game that we actually had on our station here.
Yeah,
Riverdale versus Blackman.
Riverdale.
Yeah.
Listen.
It was as advertised, right?
It was as advertised. It didn't go down the exact way I expected. It didn't end the way I expected either. I mean, with rivalry games, so, for example, my alma mater, Clarksville, just played their rivalry game, and they won against Rossville, I believe, 35-10. Yeah. Which is really great. And it's a hot-headed rivalry. It's two of the biggest schools in the city, long history, and it never ends the way there have been some bad losses, and they've shot fireworks, but there's never been fights, cops. There's something about mid-state Tennessee football. It just means more, Ray.
Right.
And it kind of culminated at the end there. This game was insane. Let's not take it back any other way. This game, turnovers, picks, interceptions, hook and ladders, onside kicks, you name it. This had it
all. Lineman scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
And the winning score, by the way. How do you feel like that? You being a former, now you're still a current offensive lineman, but as a lineman, do you get does that get you hyped up?
I get worked up, absolutely. The worst thing about it is, personally, here's my rule. If you're a lineman, offensive or defensive, and you score, you earn the right to get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. That's my personal feelings. You earn the right to put the ball in your helmet and carry it like a baby and breastfeed it on the field. I've thought of it all just in case I ever scored. I've had a rush before. You earn the right to do whatever crazy thing you want with the football if you're a lineman and score. So the fact that he didn't get a penalty, I'm just, you never get another chance like that again. It never comes.
You know what I would love tonight? What? Even though Jack Risen had a great game tonight and he was our mid-state checkdown player of the game.
Yeah, this is one of those games.
I would have loved it for it gone to Miles Gray.
This is one of those
give
games
it to the lineman. Just give it to him just because,
just because.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to listen to Kelly Holcomb. Did a great job filling in for Greg Pope, by the way. He was, talking about, it's one of those things. You have the toss-up, so you give it to the quarterback. They're the ones that have to put in the most prep, lead the team. Right. I get it. This is one of those games I wish we had 4 plaques that we could give out.
There was you had Justin Brown, you had Jack Risen. I would love for it to go to the offensive line because I feel like sometimes they're they kind of fly under the radar. They don't get as much attention. So it's nice to see Miles Gray to be able to get it. But when you look at this game, it was all Blackman in the first half.
It was all Blackman. It was a tale of two. It was a tale of two halves that tell similar stories, I feel like.
Right.
Let's review it. Blackman goes up quick and early. Riverdale, going into halftime, starts chipping away at the lead.
Right.
And then they come out. Blackman starts hot. Riverdale chips away at the lead. And then Blackman kind of runs away with it at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Riverdale came and tied the game up. And then all of a sudden, Blackman just got his score. And
I think Blackman was
trick play, and
I think Blackman was 1 of 7 in third downs. Kelly Holcomb mentioned it, I believe, in the halftime show, whereas Blackman wasn't winning because of sustained, consistent drives. They were living and dying off the big play tonight.
Right.
You know, just play, and that's the essence of football. That the teams that can figure that out at the high school level, at the college level, and at the pro level are more successful. It's not the plays, it's the players. Like, for example, a lot of people can remember that Chiefs-Bills playoff game. That was super crazy. You have Tyree, and it gave us Travis Kelce's mic'd up of the game where he's like, "Oh, Pat, I'm cooking this guy up. Throw it to me. I can get out of bounds." It's not the coaches calling some insane play that wins you the game, although that hook and ladder by Blackman at the end was impressive to put it away. It's the players that go out there and make the play, and that's why Blackman won this rivalry game tonight. Their players stood out.
what also stood out was at the very end of the game. Joe Fisher and Kelly Holcomb actually spoke on that, about how after the game was over, the Blackman players went on the Riverdale logo and kind of like, you know what, we're going to taunt you a little bit. You being a former player, your team loses, right? How do you feel about that?
Listen, high school Bruno and Bruno now, two totally different guys. Not really, but on the field, I used to be a lot more humble back in that day. Like, I was a nervous wreck. I didn't know how good I was at things.
Right.
I had a lot of insecurities.
Right.
So I would have just, looked at it, said we should have played hard. If we don't want them dancing on the field, we should have played harder and moved on.
Right.
And I would have walked off that field. High school Bruno was very mature. I guess you could say you could call him weak or mature. Bruno now would have ran onto that field and thrown hands.
What was Vanderbilt Bruno like? That's was he more like high school Bruno, or is he more like now Bruno?
No, that's when it all went bad.
That's when it
Florida defensive coordinator Todd Grantham. The second I see that guy on the street, it's on sight. I'm King Kong his jaw off. That's the kind of guy I am now.
Figured that's what it'd be.
That's what a lifetime of football. So if you ever want your youth to play football, and you're like, I hope he goes to college, just be prepared for him to come back a maniac or transfer to some small school, because that's what happens. All right. I mean,
that's what I figured it would be. That's because I actually like this Bruno more than I probably would like.
Good. I mean, my dad does too. It made him really proud when I all of a sudden turned into a psychopath. That's what college and pro football will do to you. But I mean, that's how much it means to these Tennessee kids is they don't need college. They don't need that hardening experience. They're like, you're dancing on my field? Nope, not happening. We can't even go down and get our coach's interview. We can't get our play. They're talking about police escorts. Like, no, man, we're the radio guys. Get us out of here.
We couldn't even give the player of the week like his plaque.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
The cops had to come in. The coaches like, hey, we need to get back safe. Which is at the end of the day, that's the ultimate thing.
Maybe we might be able to sneak in there at the end. Who knows? That's kind of a buy update thing.
Right.
But I knew this game was going to be, I knew the game was going to be a game. What type of game? I knew it was going to be a close one. I knew Riverdale was not going to, either Riverdale was going to win or they weren't going to give it up that easy. I didn't expect the chaos that was tonight, for sure. I didn't expect the turnovers. I didn't expect the onside kicks. I didn't expect.
We got a little bit of everything tonight.
We did. Yeah, I mean, we had
to begin the game with an hour 15-minute delay.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's that feels like a lifetime ago too.
Yeah,
the game was.
I feel
even
that was
delayed.
yesterday. We're about 20 minutes away from being yesterday. But yes, if you think about it, like we just had that. I mean, we were not the only games that was impacted. When you look at the Father Ryan Pope game, they're just starting their third quarter 5 minutes ago.
I've seen some updates, and so thanks for us for holding with the scoreboard updates too, because it has been absolutely wild here in the Middle Tennessee area to try and get scores and accurate scores at that too. So that has been a struggle for everyone. Real quick, we're going to run to a break. Stay with us. That was the review of our Blackman Riverdale game. This is WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
If you're in the mood for quality burgers and handmade milkshakes, Mooyah is where you need to be. With 2 locations in Brentwood and Franklin, Mooyah is your only choice for handcrafted Angus beef burgers, fresh cut fries, and homemade ice cream milkshakes. With vegan, paleo, and keto options, Mooyah has something for every taste. Order online, dine in, or carry out. Located in Brentwood and in Franklin off West McEwen Drive. For the best quality and the best taste at the best price, make it Mooyah.
Sir Speedy is a proud sponsor of high school football on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. At Sir Speedy Music City, we provide commercial print, signs, and mailing services to companies all over Tennessee and actually all over the world. If you need anything like that, you give us a call, 615-832-9511, SirSpeedyMusicCity.com. We are a proud sponsor of high school athletics on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. Call us at 615-832-9511. Go to the web at SirSpeedyMusicCity.com or email us at print@SirSpeedyMusicCity.com. We are the official sign company of the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week.
Get all your NASCAR news every weekday right here on The Final Lap. Hey, it's Kerry Murphy, and Chase Elliott took home his 2nd win of the season, 3rd in a row at a road course from Daytona this past weekend. Up next is the Monster Mile at Dover. So grab all the latest NASCAR news, race recaps, driver reviews, stats, and info every single weekday right where Chase does.
Hi, this is Chase Elliott, and you're listening to The Final Lap with Kerry Murphy.
And like us at Facebook.com/The Final Lap. We'd appreciate it. Every single weekday.
Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike, Southern Trophy has been serving Nashville and Middle Tennessee for over 62 years. Southern Trophy offers a wide array of services like custom-designed awards, cast bronze plaques, etched crystal awards, laser-engraved corporate gifts, promotional items, merch, embroidery, screen printing, signage, and banners. Browse their entire collection online at southerntrophy.com or on Facebook at Southern Trophy. Feel free to give them a call at 615-256-7295. That's 615-256-7295. Southern Trophy. They do their best to help you recognize your best. Founded in 1974 and serving the Nashville area and mid-state since 2015, Star Leasing Company is a one-stop shop for all semi-trailer needs. With 13 locations nationally and serving Tennessee cities and nearby areas, Star Leasing does semi-trailer leasing and rentals, purchases new and used trailers, offers maintenance and unscheduled repairs on Star Leasing and non-Star trailers, including over the road, and can take care of all your semi-trailer needs, from brakes and tires to full rebuild. A member of the TTA, Star Leasing Company is not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Learn more at starleasing.com.
Lifetime Murfreesboro resident and businessman Taylor Wright and his T. Wright Properties and Century 21 Wright Realty are proud to be the sponsors of all the high school football coverage tonight on Nashville Sports Radio, especially the Blackman game at Riverdale High School. For rental property and property management, it's T. Wright Properties. For buying and selling real estate, it's Century 21 Wright Realty. Nobody does it better in Rutherford County. Visit TWrightProperties.com to learn more. And thanks to everybody who supports high school athletics, and enjoy this night of high school football in the borough.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show with 2 guys who can't wear the correct size shirts, Bruno Reagan and Ray Dosky.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Checkdown Scoreboard Update. I'm Ray Dosky. That's Bruno Reagan. That's Devlin McKenzie behind the checkboard. Before we talk about going around the scores here in the Mid-State region, I want to tell you about my friends over at Mooyah. Best burgers, fries, shakes, you name it, they got it. You can find my locations in Brentwood, out and over at Franklin off of McEwen Drive. Great spot. I went out there. I go there at least once, twice a week. Burgers, I mean, they've got everything from paleo, diets, whatever. They will satisfy you. I mean, I'm telling you, the burgers are so good, it's ridiculous. But go be sure to go check my friends out at Mooyah over at Brentwood as well as Franklin. Bruno, you want to give us some scoreboard update?
Let's do it. Let's head to the scores.
Scoreboard update from the Strike and Spare studio.
Going into it with what information we have. There's some games are canceled, some games are still playing. Let's get into it. Let's go divisions 7 and 8, or regions 7 and 8 in Division 1. Let's go. Independence and Centennial actually kicked off at 10 p.m., so we'll try and get that update by the end of the night. That's a bit of a
The
of a
CPA
bummer for
BGA
them.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't mean CPA. Excuse me. Independence Centennial.
Yeah, so apparently that game got canceled. Got postponed until tomorrow, 1 o'clock. They're going to start in the third quarter.
Yeah. Portland's currently up on Clarksville Northwest, 35-0. We got Henry County defeats Kenwood, 52-20. Westview defeats Gibson County, 34-0. We have Ravenwood and Franklin are suffering from lightning delays as well. Clarksville Northeast falls to Springfield, 50-14. Springfield was our first game on the scoreboard show, and they have done nothing but dominate throughout their schedule. Let's see. Memphis Central defeats Dyer County 48-38. Germantown defeats Whitehaven 24-21. And Westwood defeats Middleton 30-18. And that ends our scoreboard update.
By the way, CPA and BGA, apparently that game just got called CPA winners, 28-0 in that game. Yep.
Let's go to the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. We got our very own Zach Williams coming from the Hendersonville Beach game. Zach, how you doing?
Boys, it's been just a tragic night in high school football here. Week 3 is going to be a week that we all forget about, I think. Lightning delays. I mean, I don't know a team that hasn't been hit by a delay. I imagine y'all been looking at all of them. I know majority of the Sumner County games were in lightning delays, and ours was as well. Ours was so bad that at one point we actually stopped our broadcast at halftime. Like we quit at halftime because at the Beach game where Hendersonville was playing, it was at Beach Stadium, Shackle Island Stadium, and the lightning was. I mean, the lightning. We were in the second quarter. The lightning was falling. It was not heat lightning. You know, there was no question that this lightning was real lightning. And Joe Townsend and I were just kind of confused as to why this game was continuing on as long as it was. Because, I mean, it was ground to, or it was cloud to ground lightning not far away. I mean, thunder was hitting really hard. The worst part about it was the MyTV 30 game. Yep. And Beach has their own broadcast group. And then we're the visiting one. So everybody else is they're in the press box. Well, Joe and I are in the stands right behind the fans.
I would just love seeing Joe in the stands like a big kid, calling a game. Yeah.
Well, Joe was loving it. So we have the tuba section right in front of us, and they are blowing that horn the entire time.
No, was it ruining the broadcast?
Oh, of course it was.
Oh my!
And so we're going now. We're under the same umbrella as the group that does the Beach broadcast as well. We were on the main hub. And doing the game, Beach is – we'll talk about the game here in a second. Beach is, they're winning. There was about 7,000 people at this game tonight. It was a jam-packed crowd. I actually never saw people finish coming into the stadium. There was constantly a stream of people coming into the stadium, so much so where you have all the bleachers completely full, and then you also have all the track completely full, people sitting up chairs in the end zones.
Wow.
Like,
more than some
it was jam-packed for this night tonight, and I know that lightning delay had a lot to do how long it took because they ended up not doing it until the start of the third quarter, and I know the reason why they were doing that is because they knew they were going to have 7,000 people have to go to their cars because there's no area to sit, there's no cover at high school games, so they knew that was going to be a problem, and majority of people were going to leave. Possibly ask for their money back. So I have a feeling Beach was playing that side of it pretty strong. But they ended up doing it at halftime. Our broadcast ended. I did continue to follow the game, though, as Beach took over the main hub broadcast because they were once again in a press box. They, if we got about $1,500 to $2,000 worth of equipment sitting out, no cover because we're in the bleachers, so we don't have a tent or anything like that going on. So our broadcast was ended, but it was not a good night for the Hendersonville Commandos. The 35-8 finish, the Commandos ended up losing that one. They had some plays. Bruno, you've probably been in plenty of games like this where the scoreboard just doesn't reflect how it happened, at least in the first half. Oh, yeah. This Commandos team, they were just one play away or one decision away from turning the tides. Mason Baker started at quarterback, and of course we spoke last week about how Caleb Samson came in at quarterback to start, and then Mason Baker comes in a few drives later, changes the complete rhythm around. I'm a little questioning of what James Beasley was doing. I'm going to talk to him about it and ask him some questions, just frankly, because Mason Baker starts this game. He's doing what he does. He's an athletic quarterback. He's taking the ball. He's running with it. They're not moving great, but they're moving the ball a little bit, having some stalled out drives early. And then all of a sudden, Caleb Sams comes into the game. And you almost can see the bravado that Caleb Sams was coming in, like he was really trying to make this his moment. And, he's a sophomore kid. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's got a lot of learning to do. But you see first play, he comes out and he goes, looks like he's about to rip one down the field, and he brings the ball back. It slips out of his hands. He falls back for about 5 yards behind him. He dives on it. Then the very next play, he rolls off to his left. He's looking to throw, and then he gets wrapped up and, kind of scorpion tackled, if that makes sense, where his leg got caught underneath, but his head came back and bent around. He ended up going out of the game after that, hurt ankle. But it was a situation where you had Baker, who was doing a little bit of something, wasn't turning the ball over, which is the main thing, but he brings in Caleb Sams to just basically end up getting hurt and then moving back on to Mason Baker. That's a weird dynamic you want to have with your quarterback. And that was really just like the real antithesis of this matchup between Beach. Beach looks good. Beach came out on fire, red hot right away. But the Commandos, they came out a little lackluster. I think the crowd really did play a huge part into it. There was just a ton of people there. It was crazy. I'd like to see the final tally of what they actually brought into the gates, but not a game for the Commandos to remember. One to put on with them. It's tough. It was the first region game of the season, and they are now behind once again in the records, 1-2, and then 0-1 inside the region, which is never good. And that Henderson and Beach game really does kind of set the tone for the region. Just a down game for the Commandos all across. Devin Mack had some flashes. Even Mason Baker had some throws that, 40, 50-plus yard throws down the field that he put on a dime. And, you're sitting here saying, like, what question is being asked about Mason Baker still on the sideline? This guy is just doing it all as junior, just coming out and throwing lasers. But it still feels like the Commandos want to have this quarterback battle going on. And I don't know if that question's been answered yet, but there's been some tremendous throws by Mason Baker. He had some great looks, but the defense just could not stop the running attack from Beach. They did get a safety at one point on a bad snap that went over Justice Law's head, and he got it at the 1. They came out, ran a power sweep from the wide receiver spot. Commandos got him onto the in the end zone for 2 points, and that was pretty much it. There was one more good touchdown pass from Mason Baker from the Commando side to Scott Ehrlich, and outside of that, the scoring just wasn't there for the Commandos, and losing 35-8 in a region game, in a game that even the scoreboard said that it just didn't feel like it was just a couple weird hiccups, I guess you would say, that the Commandos had. It was a tough one.
Zach, you were talking about the quarterback looks like competition that's happening here at Hendersonville. Now, Bruno and I were talking about this during our weather delay, if you will, about teams trying to figure out, they're getting an idea of who they are going into week 3, right? It seems like that's what Hendersonville is going through right now. Who do you see starting next week for this Hendersonville team?
It's got to be Mason Baker. I wouldn't have any other answer to it, I don't think, because one, Caleb Sams got hurt. He got a hurt ankle on the sideline, so he was limping off the field. It was under his own power, but it was still limping off the field. We'll see what they do. It's a long time till next week, but it's going to be something that I think for sure James Beasley and his coaching staff are going to get together, and they're going to try to figure it out. One thing I would say that was such a good side is that we did see more passing, and I think 2 back-to-back weeks of Mason Baker throwing the ball and being consistent and making good decisions with it, making good passes with it, I think that's going to open up this Hendersonville offense more. I don't think this game, how it represents Hendersonville, is going to be how we're going to see Hendersonville when they get to October 28th, the final game of the season. Next week, it's not much easier. You have Gallatin. It's another matchup where it's against a foe, a rival, if you will. That's the oldest rivalry in Sumner County is Gallatin versus Hendersonville. And I mean, really, I'm looking at the I'm looking at the schedule here. It's just Hendersonville plays such a tough schedule. They got Gallatin next, then they have Ravenwood, then they have Clarksville, which that might be their one reprieve, and then they have Shelbyville, Baylor, coming from the Division IIA, which are out of Chattanooga, and they're just monsters in their own right. Rossview, and then they got West Creek to finish out the season. So the Gallatin game next week is going to be very crucial for this Hendersonville team if they're going to be doing if they're going to be trying to have a home game next week, and they got to hope Beach loses now because they don't control their destiny.
Yeah, Clarksville could be the reprieve, or it could be the nail in the coffin. You never know, Zach. So it's just one of those things.
It could be, man.
Real quick, I want to stick on to this topic because it's just so interesting to me in a high school perspective. You know the age-old saying: if you have two quarterbacks, you have zero, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder what do you remember the situation last year? What was the starting situation like for the Commandos last year at quarterback? Do you remember?
So last year, yeah, Luke Manning was the starting quarterback, and there was no ifs, ands, or maybes about it.
And was he a senior?
Yes, he was a senior. He started his junior year. Actually, you may have to do a little digging, but there was a big Sports Center play from his freshman year at Hendersonville. They were down in a game, and he goes to get sacked. And if you remember the 99 Super Bowl with Steve McNair as he makes that pass over the middle to Kevin Dyson, I believe it was Kevin Dyson, where he's getting chased by two linemen, and he almost gets sacked, almost dragged down, stays up somehow, and then makes the throw and gets the first down. Luke Manning did that exact same thing, except as a freshman, he did it getting bounced around and then threw it to, I believe, Torrin Baker, who is Mason Baker's older brother. Wow. It was Jamison Wharton. Jamison Wharton, who now is the cornerback over from Hendersonville that went to Vandy. So he's at Vandy right now. But throws a game-winning touchdown in his freshman year. Luke Manning was somebody they felt very confident about. He didn't have the prototypical size. He was kind of the Drew Brees, if you will, of high school quarterbacks. He's up in Campbellsville right now, playing quarterback up there. So he's got up into the next level, but there was never any question about it. There was never a thought. They did have 2 years ago with Luke when he was coming in, there was another quarterback that they did the same kind of situation with, but they had a much different running game. They had a much different athlete set on the team that they could go with two quarterbacks and try to figure out who they're going to go with, could just play off the running game to make sure, like, it didn't have to pass the ball. But when Luke Manning was the quarterback, he was the quarterback through and through. So I don't know. We'll see. It really seems like it's still open right now. But Mason Baker has gone 2 weeks in a row now with leaving no questions on the field that he has arm talent and he is a playmaker because he has so much speed on the outside, constantly finding the edge. And like I said, I think Caleb Sams is an amazing quarterback as well. He's got a bright future for the Commandos. He's just not comfortable yet in the lights. I'm not exactly sure what he looks like at practice. I have to imagine he looks pretty good. And y'all have probably seen this where someone looks very good in practice, just not as good in game time because
all
of
the
anxiety
time.
or just, whatever it could be. I don't know. But he's coming out, he's making poor decisions or weird plays. And like I said, he's a sophomore in high school. Put yourself in that shoe. Just then put that in front of 7,000 people to play an away game against your crosstown rival. It's big moments there. So I take nothing away from the kid. He's got a lot of talent, and I just think right now this team should be Mason Baker's team.
Yeah, it's I hope they figure it out because it's just one of those things. You want to try and do right by the seniors of that class. I know neither of those quarterbacks are, but you want to get them a stable position at that and start writing it out because when there's that uncertainty, there starts to become doubt, and that can creep into the momentum of a season. So I hope they figure it out. Zach, I appreciate you, brother,
Absolutely,
calling
man.
in. Staying fluid with us as late as it is. I always appreciate you, buddy. I'll see you very soon.
Tuesday. I'll see you Tuesday.
Tuesday, isn't it?
It's 11:40, and there's still games going on right now.
Yep. I mean, there's games,
the
high school and
delays
college.
were the worst.
This is like when we all dream about having football and it goes too far,
Oh yeah, no. This is I'm already ready for Let's get to some basketball, March Madness. I'm all ready for it already. So no, you boys have a good show. Finish out strong and have a good long weekend. Everyone stay safe over Labor Day weekend.
Zach, appreciate you, brother. That was Zach Williams, play-by-play announcer for the Hendersonville Commandos. We're going to go to a break. Stay tuned. We're going to talk more about the Mid-State. This is WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Paid for by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Let's go to work, brother.
Hello, this is Greg Pogue, and I invite you to join Joe Fisher and me for the broadcast of the Mid-State Checkdown Game of the Week with a very special Thursday edition as Montgomery Bell Academy plays host to Christ Presbyterian Academy. That's right, it's CPA and MBA on a Thursday night. The pregame show at 6:45 and kickoff at 7 right here on Nashville Sports Radio, following Murphy Fair's matchup at 6:15 and the scoreboard show afterward.
Let's go to work, brother.
Hello, this is Greg Pogue, and I invite you to join Joe Fisher and me for the broadcast of the Mid-State Checkdown Game of the Week with a very special Thursday edition as Montgomery Bell Academy plays host to Christ Presbyterian Academy. That's right, it's CPA and MBA on a Thursday night. The pregame show at 6:45 and kickoff at 7 right here on Nashville Sports Radio, following Murphy Fair's matchup at 6:15 and the scoreboard show afterward.
If you're in the mood for quality burgers and handmade milkshakes, Mooyah is where you need to be. With 2 locations in Brentwood and Franklin, Mooyah is your only choice for handcrafted Angus beef burgers, fresh cut fries, and homemade ice cream milkshakes. With vegan, paleo, and keto options, Mooyah has something for every taste. Order online, dine in, or carry out. Located in Brentwood and in Franklin off West McEwen Drive. For the best quality and the best taste at the best price, make it Mooyah.
Sir Speedy is a proud sponsor of high school football on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. At Sir Speedy Music City, we provide commercial print, signs, and mailing services to companies all over Tennessee and actually all over the world. If you need anything like that, you give us a call, 615-832-9511, SirSpeedyMusicCity.com. We are a proud sponsor of high school athletics on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. Call us at 615-832-9511. Go to the web at SirSpeedyMusicCity.com or email us at print@SirSpeedyMusicCity.com. We are the official sign company of the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week.
You're listening to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show with Bruno Reagan and Ray Dosky.
That was a pretty normal opener. I'll take it.
That was a normal. Yes.
Anything that doesn't make fun of Ray. He is
Dude, high school.
Everybody loves Ray.
Yes.
Everybody loves Ray. Everybody remind him, all right?
And Ray.
I'm Bruno Reagan. That's Ray Dosky. We got Devin McKenzie behind the board. We're here till midnight. You still got us for a bit, all right? Talking about all the biggest high school football games, scores, updates, and really, Ray Dosky is the man with it. I mean, this dude's got the notes. This dude's got the
It's
stats.
just crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at these scores. And how many rain delays did the Mid-State deal with?
Hey, listen,
they're still dealing with them now.
No, it was probably, realistically, counting them up, it could be around 10, 12, 13 that I know of.
And we talked about this during our rain delay about how does that like affect like,
the mental
part of these players. You're all hyped up and you're ready to go. Week 3, you want to play. You've been looking all week for this game, and then
you kind of just lose the juice.
Yeah, you lose the juice after 20 minutes, and you're like, like you said, you took a nap or what have you, like just to kind of like preserve the energy. But when you look at some of these games, it's like Oakland smashes Stewart's Creek. You got Clarksville destroys Rossview. CPA 28-0 over BGA, like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of NBA McCauley, which was a close game, the game that we were covering here on this station was like one of the closest games around the region.
That's an interesting statistic. Arguing do these weather issues warrant more sort of momentum shifts that cause blowouts?
Right.
Like maybe one team goes down 14-0 and they're like, "Oh, we just had to deal with 2 hours of weather delay. Now we're done." That's an interesting prospect, and I have to say, it in my head, without having a real scientific analysis, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense that maybe the weather delays cause more lopsided games. One team gets ahead, and everyone's just like, "All right, you win, let's go home," kind of deal.
Did we think that the Riverdale versus Blackman game would go that score like that high coming out of an hour and 15-minute weather delay?
Well,
you would think that might be a little sluggish. We thought that it might be more of a closer 21-14 game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember my prediction from last week. We were looking to this game and we were saying how what were the keys to victory? Higher scoring the game, the edge goes to Blackman. Lower scoring the game, I gave the edge to Riverdale. Yeah. Grinding, gritty team. If I had to compare these two, it was the Pac-12 rivalry between Oregon and Stanford. Kind of a staunch control the D line, control the time of possession, no mistakes team in Riverdale, and then you have the high powered offense of Oregon in your Blackman. So that was kind of the way I compared it, and it went exactly as I thought. Blackman was able to be explosive, make it a shootout, and that was their key. That was the path to victory. And they, now I'm not going to say they executed it flawlessly,
right?
But they did enough to make it to their world. You always hear the old saying. It's like, make them play your game. Blackman made Riverdale play their game, and they couldn't keep up.
Yeah, because when you look at what happened between, like you talked about, the tale of two halves, right? It was all Blackman the first half. It was basically Justin Brown doing his thing, scoring touchdowns. Yes. The pick six from Blackman. It felt like they had all the momentum. Then they go into this halftime, come back out of the halftime. Riverdale's still chipping at it, took that momentum back from them, and then what do?
But they couldn't get those big different
plays.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
And then what happened? That offside kick. The Blackman would score the touchdown, took the lead 27-20, and then what happened right after that? Onside kick.
They pulled a Scott Frost.
Yeah, right.
Scott Frost, who's getting heamed up in the national media if you didn't watch the Nebraska versus Northwestern game in Ireland. He goes up, kicks an onside kick, they recover, they score, they lose after an 11-point lead, they blow it. But you look at Blackman's like if Scott Frost knew what he was doing. They execute it perfectly.
Right. And it's just crazy how the momentum shifted back and forth throughout the entire game, because we thought when we talked about what were the necessary changes that needed to happen for Riverdale was basically protect the ball.
Yes.
They had a couple turnovers in the first half. They didn't really protect the ball. In terms of kickoff returns, special teams, they were starting at the 30 or 40 yard line of Blackman was of their own side. I mean, they didn't really have much drive. So when you talk about where they had to start, all the advantages went to Blackman, and then Riverdale came out and decided to take a little bit back. They had a chance. They kept it close, which is what you were talking about. They kept it close, gave themselves a chance, which I feel like they did several times. But at the very end, one trick play, and then you had a special teams trick, offside kick. That was the end of the game.
Ray, I can't emphasize enough how good of a point you just made. Being in the SEC, I had a lot of it's weird. You enter this world, it's like getting hired to the most advanced science lab in the world. Like I had that hydrogen particle collider or whatever in Sweden or Switzerland or wherever it is. That's what it's like when you get into these conferences. When I played in the SEC, the amount of stats I had to look at and find what successful teams do was insane to me. You can go find it, I'm sure, on ESPN, but there was more niche things. And one of the things, obviously, the key thing is turnovers. If you win the turnover battle, you typically win the game. But the second thing is field possession or field position. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Off of the kickoffs and punts. If you receive a kickoff and you're within the 0 to 20, it's about, in college football in the SEC, last I checked, it was probably 92 to 95% chance you maybe get no score. But the second you get into the 25 to 35, it goes to 65%.
Right.
You go 45 to 50, 30%. The odds drastically change as you get more field position. Like
in your favor, absolutely.
Exponentially, not additive,
Right.
which means you get double the chance. No, like 10 times the chance of scoring by just 20 extra yards of starting field position. It's absolutely massive, and it made or break the game tonight. Yeah. So that's a great point, Ray.
Yeah, I mean, what were some of the surprises for you tonight? Not only for the game that we were covering here on the station, but anything around the Mid-State area.
Yeah. Well, if you heard my pregame prediction, I definitely predicted Riverdale to control the game all around. If it wasn't such an ugly game, and I should have known beforehand, this is a great... The way Blackman wins this game is it gets ugly and down to the playmakers. And the rain delay probably threw a wrench in Riverdale's style of football. Mm-hmm. I mean, a rain delay is inherently a wrench in the cog, which is Riverdale's key to success. So I wish I would have picked up a little bit on that earlier and took that insight into halftime. But looking back at the game, I can see how Riverdale got out of their mental. Because, and I'm not saying a weather delay is win or loss because of it. I don't want that to be an excuse to these youngins. But 90 minutes, preparing to play, then going 90 minutes,
and you're at home.
Play again.
And you're at home.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a super tough thing. So we're going to head to a break real quick. I'm Bruno Reagan. That's Ray Dosky. You're listening to the Mid-State Checkdown Scoreboard Show right here on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
This is the Greg Pogue and John Burton Show.
Mickey Yates is here, ladies and gentlemen.
As a fan of both of the men, this is the place to be. Do you want to know about sports? This is the place to be. Listen to John and Greg. This is it.
Wow. That was awesome.
I quit.
Yeah, no, I'm done. That's a mic drop.
Greg Pogue and News Channel 5's John Burton. WNSR. Nashville Sports Radio.
Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike, Southern Trophy has been serving Nashville and Middle Tennessee for over 62 years. Southern Trophy offers a wide array of services like custom-designed awards, cast bronze plaques, etched crystal awards, laser-engraved corporate gifts, promotional items, merch, embroidery, screen printing, signage, and banners. Browse their entire collection online at southerntrophy.com or on Facebook at Southern Trophy. Feel free to give them a call at 615-256-7295. That's 615-256-7295. Southern Trophy. They do their best to help you recognize your best. Founded in 1974 and serving the Nashville area and mid-state since 2015, Star Leasing Company is a one-stop shop for all semi-trailer needs. With 13 locations nationally and serving Tennessee cities and nearby areas, Star Leasing does semi-trailer leasing and rentals, purchases new and used trailers, offers maintenance and unscheduled repairs on Star Leasing and non-Star trailers, including over the road, and can take care of all your semi-trailer needs, from brakes and tires to full rebuild. A member of the TTA, Star Leasing Company is not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Learn more at starleasing.com.
Lifetime Murfreesboro resident and businessman Taylor Wright and his T. Wright Properties and Century 21 Wright Realty are proud to be the sponsors of all the high school football coverage tonight on Nashville Sports Radio, especially the Blackman game at Riverdale High School. For rental property and property management, it's T. Wright Properties. For buying and selling real estate, it's Century 21 Wright Realty. Nobody does it better in Rutherford County. Visit TWrightProperties.com to learn more. And thanks to everybody who supports high school athletics, and enjoy this night of high school football in the borough.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Paid for by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show with your hosts, SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, Bruno Reagan, and Ray Dosky.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Checkdown Scoreboard Show. I'm Ray Dosky. That's Bruno Reagan. That's Devlin McKenzie behind the boards. Well, that almost wraps up our week here, this game.
Next week, I would say next week we would have a normal week.
Yeah.
But, alas, we do things, we go above and beyond, and we do things out of the ordinary. Next week's game is on a Thursday. Ray, who do we got?
We got CP at NBA, baby.
We got
Thursday night.
NBA winning the biggest matchup probably of the week against McCauley. They're undefeated. Maybe take the unanimous number 1 ranking in the mid-state. They go face their challenge at CPA. That's a game to look forward to.
We get to see Marcel Reed. I can't wait to see that one. I'm really excited about that. Maybe they'll be able to get their offense back up to scoring because, like we said, the McCauley game was a little, just how close of a game that was. You'll have Joe Fisher calling the game as well as Greg Pogue back in the room calling the game next week here on this very station. I can't wait. It's just awesome. I mean, like, it just seems like every week has gone by, and it just seems like the week prior is just like the games are just like you're like, can we match last week's intensity? Can we match last week's game? And it's just like it's just getting better and better because now we're starting to get towards the heart of the season, like the very start of when the season really gets real here.
Yeah, listen, and there's not another thing I would stay up till midnight for than to work with this team and do it with you guys, man. I've had a pleasure. It's been a blast. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to us, Bruno Reagan, Ray Dosky. We're in the Striking Spare Family Fun Center studios. Hey, if you ever want to call in next week, try it. Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. That's going to wrap up our show tonight. Listen, Ray, I appreciate you. Devlin, all right? This is WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.